Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
Okay, so now we're finished with exercise, but we are going to be talking to Joe KARP, who I guess in his own way, he does exercise. He exercises your brain to get your paperwork in order in case something happens. And, you know, Joe, it's funny. I never, even though Bill was 93, I never thought in terms of death. But thank goodness you've been our attorney and you had everything organized and ready. And so it makes it easier if that's even possible.
Yeah, when I got your text and I knew that Bill had died, I felt comfortable that the stuff that you and he had to do to put things in order were in order. But Bill never thought in terms of death. Bill was one of my doctor always says the biggest problem his male business people clients have, the biggest health issue they have is retiring because they don't know what to do. Bill had plans. So whenever you spoke to Bill, he was talking about his next project, the book he was going to be completing, and his next book idea. So it gave him increased longevity even beyond the years his body had. And that's a very positive way to live your life, because you're not feeling that you're at death's door. You're not feeling that the end is in sight. You have the view that we have when we look out at the ocean, which is there's a horizon out there. But if you go out on a boat a mile out, the horizon has moved. So Bill always had the horizon moving for him, so he never saw the end until it came, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, thank you. And I had to go back to documents, because one cannot believe, and we've heard this before, that when someone passes away, you're still in shock most of the time. And now all of a sudden, everyone wants documents. Do you have this? Do you have that? We need this. We can't do that. And of course, I can just go to the book that Joe prepared, and it's all there. And if I did forget something, or I don't know where I put something, you just call his office within, I would say, minutes, and maybe it's a few hours. He sends whatever you need. I mean, I've never met anyone, and he's so efficient and so kind. You know, between Debbie, his wife, and Joe, you've been doing this for a long time, and you should be very proud of yourself. I know your company has gotten much larger. You now have your son, of course, involved as a lawyer with you, but you really have created something that is very, very important in Palm Beach County and Broward, actually.
Well, I'm glad to have done that. It works well for my clients, and it works well for me. My son, we have 5 lawyers besides me and my son, so there's 7 of us. And my son said to me, he's talking to his friends who are now practicing 2 and 3 years, how hard they struggle to find clients. And I said, well, it takes time. And he said, but you seem to get a lot of calls in the office. And I said, well, what we've done is develop relationships with our existing clients. We know that they're there. They know that we're there. They know that we care about them. They know that they care about their families. And we've built up a relationship so that when they need us, they're there, and they tell their friends, and the stability of it really does work and help. And it does. And
let me interrupt you with something, though. People don't understand what it's like to do seminars. I mean, I've been a speaker, and I know what it takes. You got to, prepare it. You got to get the place where you're going to do it, and then you have to go and appear. And Joe KARP is probably the only person I know a lot of professionals, who has, on a consistent basis for probably over 20 some odd years, had seminars every single month. Rarely if he misses 1 month, but he has these seminars, and he's always on a high. He gets there, and he gets a nice crowd, and he does things that are very important for the boomers and the seniors. Joe, I have to congratulate you. People have no idea what it takes to go and be a speaker at a seminar and be fresh every time. And you've done this for so many years?
I enjoy doing it. I have fun doing it. I like, if you will, I like teaching. I like educating. I like performing. I like telling people things that they never knew or clearing up things, the misconceptions that people have, the number of misconceptions that people have that we clear up at a seminar. And that's one of the things I'll tell anybody. If you think you know it all, come, and not only will we show you that you don't know it all, because nobody knows it all, we're going to show you why some of the things you know, you're incorrect. It's misunderstood. It's misunderstood not just by regular people. The number of lawyers and accountants that I have that hire us to assist them because they don't know and they don't understand is exceptionally high, and that's very heartening to us and reassuring. But it just proves that the people don't know. They're ill-informed. I mean, if you read the things that you read in the newspaper about how ill-informed the public is about any number of things, 50% of the people who voted for President Trump want to eliminate Obamacare but keep the Affordable Care Act because it's so essential. So there's a lot of misinformation because it's just thrown at you bombastically from different sources. Like, I have to explain. And then even after I tell people, they got to understand it. So, for example, they say, but there's a 5-year look-back for Medicaid. And I say, yes, but that doesn't mean there's a 5-year penalty period. A look-back doesn't mean that. I say, if your business earns $100,000 this year, but it spends $110,000 to make it, do you have to file a tax return? Of course, but you don't have to pay any taxes because you didn't make any money. So the fact that you have to file a tax return doesn't mean you have to file taxes. The fact that there's a look-back doesn't mean there's a penalty or that the penalty is 5 years. So there's just tons and tons of rules that people don't understand. I would suggest that people who have wills, at least a substantial portion, I won't guess at the percentage, think if they have a will, they've avoided probate because they've written who will get everything. And obviously that's not the case. If your will is going to be the instrument to pass assets on your death, it's going to go through probate. But maybe you have all beneficiary designations. You leave under your will everything in thirds to your 3 children, and all your bank accounts are impayable on death to one of them. Well, guess what? That will is meaningless because it's all going to the one, not under the will. So people just learn a lot about stuff that they don't know. So you want to tell them when we're doing these, or should I?
I'm going to do it for you. You can save your breath because we're going to have you talk a little bit more. The free senior survival workshops, which are going to be in February. In fact, it's coming up Tuesday, February the 14th, from 1:30 to 4 at the Palm Beach Gardens Marriott. Then on Wednesday, February the 15th, from 1:30 to 4, the Courtyard by Marriott in Boynton Beach. And those of you who like to go even further north than Palm Beach County, you can go to Port St. Lucie and in the Holiday Inn on Thursday, February the 16th, from 1:30 to 4. Now, no reservations are required. So you can just go there, make sure you are there on time. And then if you want more information, if you can't make the ones in February, they will have other things for you to read on their website. You can go to KARPlaw.com, KARPLAW.com, or you can call their office at 1-800-893-9911. That's 1-800-893-9911. And as Dr. Mencia, who was just our previous interview guest, said, this is Pencil Talk Radio, Make sure you write this down. The most important thing you can do is have their phone number, whether you are currently a client or you want to be a client, 1-800-893-9911. And Joseph S. KARP is an elder law attorney, a real one, not one that just deals with elder issues. He is certified, board certified. So, Joe, why don't you tell them what happens if they do come there, what you have a special offer for them?
Sure. First of all, first offer is you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to hear a lot. The other thing is we offer seminar attendees whom we think we can help, and we'll let you know why we don't think we can help you, but 98% of the people we think we can help. But if you're a resident of Pennsylvania, we're not going to try to practice law where we can't. But maybe you hear about Mom, who's a resident of Boynton Beach. So seminar attendees whom we think we can help, we offer a free 1-hour consultation with one of the lawyers. There are 7 of us. 2 of us are board certified in elder law, but we have one lawyer who's got a master's in international law, a master's degree in tax law. 2 of the lawyers that don't have those degrees have been with me more than 10 years, so they've been doing this stuff, and they have gotten the education of working together, which is superior, in my opinion, to advanced degrees, so they get an opportunity for free consultation to have their existing estate plan reviewed. Now, that means we expect them to bring in their documents, bring in information about themselves, so we can tell them what we see, what we think, where the documents do what they want it to do. And then we talk about it, and you say, well, what do we need all this other information? Well, part of it is the documents don't tell the story. I talked about the bank accounts earlier, where your will leaves everything in thirds to your 3 kids, but your bank accounts are payable on death to your 1 child. Well, guess what? Your estate plan is everything's going to that 1 child. So knowing about those documents and knowing about how assets are titled and knowing whether the tax planning you did in 1997 or 2002 is still necessary and appropriate when you no longer live in New York State, which had an estate tax in New York State, and when you no longer have a taxable estate because our estate tax is now a $5.49 million exemption, we go over that and explain what happens if you do fix it, if you don't fix it. So it's very important, and what to do with stuff and where to do the documents. And that's all very relevant. And getting honesty out of people. I had clients come in 2 days ago. 2 days ago, and they came in, they said, we need a special consultation. And they wanted advice on how to help their son. And their son lives in New York, and he has gotten great financial problems, great psychiatric problems. They wanted to know whether they should hire a bankruptcy lawyer for him, and he's going through a divorce. They go through all of this stuff, and his son's in a psychiatric hospital right now. And when they finish the whole thing, I give them this is what you have to do with New York lawyers. I can't help you. And they said, now let's talk about why you're here. They said, well, that's why we're here. I said, oh, really? Let's look at your estate plan. You have 3 children. Your son is the person in charge of your medical decisions if you can't make it for each other. He's in the psychiatric hospital. Your son is the one now facing bankruptcy because you said he doesn't know how to manage money. He's your successor trustee. He's your power of attorney. Can you explain why we're not addressing these issues? And you're leaving him 1/3 of the money. There's a way to leave it to beat the creditors if you have to. We've got to discuss this. And it was like, it never occurred to us.
Right.
I said, well, that's where I can help you. So people get a chance to get, and the more of the picture we get, the better we can help. It's sort of like going to your doctor. Guess what your doctor tells you to do when you have a sniffle? He wants to listen to your heart. He wants to do blood work. He wants to know more than your current symptom. Dr. Mencia will tell you he's going to want to know how much salt you've been eating.
Right. That's true.
So you get it's like going to a doctor for a physical. You're going to get not symptomatic evaluation. You're going to get evaluated to see whether you have things that have to be dealt with. So that's free. Now, if you hire us, first of all, at the seminar, we quote our fees if you hire us to do trusts and things like that. And seminar attendees who make their appointments within 2 weeks get a 10% discount if they hire us to do a trust. They don't if they're going to just change their power of attorney or their health care surrogate, and we go over that. And then when we're through with our meeting, we say, this is what we recommend, this is what it would cost, and would you like to hire us? And fortunately, 25 years of experience doing this, most people say yes. Because, but we'll tell a lot of people you don't need our help. What you've got is fine. You've got your ducks in a row. Or we had a lady call up and say, my mother needs new documents. We wanted to get this done as soon as possible because she's moving to Louisiana in 3 weeks. And we said, no, she doesn't need us to do that because Louisiana law is different. Soon as you're in Louisiana, she should see a lawyer. Here's the name of a certified elder law attorney in Baton Rouge, where she was going to be near. Call that lawyer up now and make an appointment for 4 weeks from now so that your mother can see the appropriate lawyer. That's somebody we couldn't help. But we did help.
Well, Joe, when you talk about this, it's a matter of a lawyer who really cares compared to, and I've seen doctors the same way in this whole situation with Bill's serious illness. There were doctors who really wanted to be doctors, and there were doctors who really didn't. I think there's the same thing with lawyers. Sometimes lawyers are money machines, and they just don't really care. And there's some lawyers like you really do care. You're really a psychologist. You're many, many things, and that's why I have been so fond of you from the very minute I met you. And you really are a very kind, caring person. You just happen to be a lawyer.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's why I became a lawyer. I was a child of the 60s who wanted to go into initially, quote, poverty law until I realized that meant the lawyer was broke too, and that you were reliant upon government programs to pay for the law business. And as we can expect, we're going to see less governmental funding for poverty-related law issues. But the middle class and the working class needs help. They're not the fat cats. They are the people who are struggling because they worry. They have more money than they ever dreamt they would at the age that they're at, but they're still scared to death. If I have a couple that come in, and the husband is 90 and the wife is 86, and they've got $700,000 to their name in their condo, that is beyond their wildest dreams of when they got married 65 years before. Beyond their wildest dreams. But the other thing that's beyond their comprehension is if you had told them that 65 years before when they were getting married, that they would have, quote, that much money in a house in Florida or a condo in Florida, they would have thought you were smoking something. Mm-hmm. But now they look at it and they are not feeling secure because the horizon keeps moving. I mean, people are living longer and they need more, and sometimes that is just because they want to stay home and they need certain services. Sometimes it's because they're ending up in a nursing home in the latter part of their lives. So they have to figure out how to do it. And that's what we try to do. And we'll tell them when they shouldn't do it or they should do it. And when we're doing things like Medicaid planning, we say involve your family. Let your children know what's going on. We want them to understand. So it's important. And we feel great doing it. And the number of people that we tell with Medicaid-related issues that it would be poor planning to try to get Medicaid because of other negative tax ramifications of what they may be doing. So we don't look at can you get Medicaid, it's should you get Medicaid.
Well, let me jump in here and tell you that as a caregiver, advocacy was extremely important in the latter days of Bill's life, and being there to watch, to take care of him. And you are, the word advocate really is a legal term. And you have been a terrific advocate for your clients.
Well, thank you. And by the way, you're absolutely right about advocacy for patients and family. And one of the things I do when we're talking sometimes about Medicaid planning is protecting assets, particularly if there's one person or there's where either the spouse cannot be the advocate or can't be the eyes and ears, or there is no spouse and the children are elsewhere, is using this money to either have private duty care available or hiring geriatric care managers to be your eyes and ears in a facility, because the facilities have limitations, okay? They all have limitations. And you don't have to be a nasty wheel to be the squeaky wheel. You just have to be the person that they know they've got to watch out for Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so because the family is attentive. So what do we do in everything in life? We tend to address the things that have to be addressed. We address that which will make it easier to do. That happens in every business, in every way of life. So we don't want to have the issue with the person who's sitting there, who's constantly watching out. I mean, when my mother-in-law was in a nursing home, every time my wife went there, the first thing my wife would have, she would be smiling and she'd be happy and she was okay, and they gave her cookies and milk every afternoon and stuff. And invariably, every time my wife got there, my wife said, "Mom, take out your dentures. Let me wash them off," because nobody would ever ask her to take out her dentures, where she'd have, if she hadn't been there for 2 days, she would have impacted cookie crumbs between her gums and her denture gums.
That's right. That's exactly what I'm talking about, that someone needs to be there helping that loved one. But that's really, and I'm going back to you, you do that extra little care. That's what makes you so special. I know that there are many lawyers that are much less expensive, and what they have is they have something on their computer when you come in, and they just, print it out. They put your name in and a couple of different things, and that's it. And that's why they're cheaper.
The answer is, and because they don't have follow-through, and they charge every time you call up, which we don't. I go back to Dr. Mencia's talk today. There are some restaurants that know how to cook and don't put a salt shaker on the table. There are some restaurants that don't know how to cook, so they have to put a salt shaker on the table.
Good point.
We avoid the salt shaker. We try to give you what's appropriate for you and deal with you. And I got to just say to you, I've given you your space, but we have to sit down and talk to make sure you're dotting all your I's and crossing all your T's, because some people don't, and I had enough information that I felt safe not to pull you in right away.
Right.
But there's some stuff we should talk about.
Okay.
And by the way, for the listener, because you have to know what you should be doing.
Yes.
Make sure you do it right.
Okay.
Because again, and what happens in death, candidly, my experience is the people who survive have such a sense of helplessness. They want to do what they can do. But sometimes what they can do is not what they should do. I know your circumstances, so I was comfortable with what I thought you would be doing and could be doing. But there are times where people should come in and address the business of death as quickly as they can before they start attending to what they think they should do. I'll give you a quick example if we have...
We have 1 minute.
2 minutes. Okay, I had a client whose wife died, who was a retired New York City school teacher. She had $800,000 in her 403B. He was 93. Their children were in their 60s. The husband has a couple of years longevity. He didn't need the money, but he was the beneficiary, so he immediately took it. Now, instead of him saying, I don't want it, let it go to my daughters, he was going to have to pull it out like an IRA over his life expectancy, which was like 5 years. So he was going to have to pull out 20% the next year and pay taxes on it, whereas daughters could have pulled out 5%. But because he was the beneficiary and he didn't know A, the negative aspects of doing it, and B, the positive of not doing it, what he could have done, it cost that family thousands of taxable dollars that could have been avoided. And that wouldn't have been a lawyer charging a fee. That was the free consultation after somebody died. So the healing process begins, and Anita's on her new adventure.
Right.
Too.
And I'm going to come. I'll make a call, and I will definitely see you. Thank you.
Okay.
Anyway,
Bill,
thank you so much, really.
We'll miss you.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Bye.
Bye-bye.